there is one thing missing from every single kibble brand that I've ever seen that is incredibly important in my opinion, so easy to add to kibble, yet I don't see anybody really talking about this at scale, and that one thing is moisture. And this isn't purely personal opinion, this is also based on research. You see, most all traditional and popular kibbles are cooked and extruded at extremely high temperatures, which can denature proteins, deplete nutrients, and maybe most importantly, removes most of the moisture or the water in the food. And the reason the manufacturers do this in kibble is to make it shelf stable. That way they can sell it easily in a grocery store or a pet store, and it can sit on the shelf for years. The problem with this is dogs are designed to get their moisture, a lot of their moisture, from the foods that they eat. And compared to a more fresh food diet, example like a cooked food, a homemade complete and balanced food, a raw food diet that has anywhere from 60-70% moisture, a kibble, a traditional kibble, only has about 6 to maybe 10% moisture in the food. And this study is really interesting because it shows the drying of extruded pet foods can affect the nutrient composition and can significantly affect the nutrient content of these pet foods. And even more, this study showed that this traditional popular process of extrusion when it comes to cooking kibble at high temperatures to make it shelf stable, not necessarily with pets' health in mind, can negatively impact the lysine within the food. And lysine is an essential amino acid for dogs, meaning that they cannot make it or produce it on their own. It has to come from their diet. So if I was feeding a kibble, what would I add to it to add moisture to the bowl? And the good news is it's super simple. You can find this stuff linked down below or even at your local pet shop. First and foremost, one of my favorite things to add is going to be raw goat milk or raw goat kefir. And the reason I love these is they are probiotic rich, nutrient dense, and they're full of healthy electrolytes, which are all excellent for our dog's overall health and well-being. So instead of just adding plain water to the bowl, which you can because it's essentially free or very, very low cost, when you add something like a raw goat milk or raw kefir, you're giving them a little bit of a nutrient punch. Another thing you can add are sardines or real fresh food options. So I like sardines as long as they are wild caught and not in anything, meaning they're just in water. No salt added. No marinara, no oils or anything like that, because one, they are nutrient rich. They're rich in omega-3s, which is critical for heart and brain health and skin and coat health. They're very moisture dense, of course, and even the little liquid that comes in those, again, when there's no salt added, adds a lot of great flavor and, again, moisture to the bowl. Another popular one is adding pure plain pumpkin to the bowl. So you can get this at your local grocery store, a can of plain pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling, but plain pumpkin, pure pumpkin. Organic is my preference, and adding some of that to the bowl adds healthy fiber, healthy vitamin C, and of course some moisture. Another way that I like to add some pumpkin moisture to the bowl is my favorite pumpkin brand, which is Native Pet. It comes in a powder. You rehydrate it with water, and then you can add that on the bowl. Great to help firm up a dog's loose stool if they're having that as well. Bone broth with no salt, no seasonings added is an absolute go-to because of the healthy fats, healthy protein, the flavor, the collagen. It is nutrient rich, nutrient dense, and dogs love the flavor. A little bit of that drizzled over the bowl. Maybe you warm it up just a tiny bit. Oh, it's beautiful. And like I said before, it doesn't always have to necessarily be a strict liquid option to the bowl. Some dogs are finicky about texture, or maybe you want to feed them a variety. Quick interruption because I just got a package in the mail and I want to show it to you. And that special delivery is Farmer's Dog. This is part of Marlowe's rotation. She's eating turkey. And I want to give a big shout out to Farmer's Dog for sponsoring this part of the video. And I'm going to show you how I get her enrichment feeding platters set up. This is different every day. Sometimes I work with her during feeding time, but every mealtime, she's gonna get some sort of mental stimulation or training, because mental stimulation, which you would know if you were clicking that subscribe button, is twice as tiring as physical exercise alone. And obviously it's best to do both. So one of her meals will be on the stainless steel lick mat. I love this because if you have a dog that likes to try to chew through lick mats, it's much harder to do that. And it even has these strong suction cups to keep it on the ground. The food special offer, as well as all the feeding tools I'm using, is linked in my description below. You can check out after this video. And because this is gently cooked and it is all human grade, I don't mind touching it with my hands. I'll wash them afterwards, of course, and I just spread it on. You can use a spatula. And I even sometimes will freeze this for, 30 minutes to make it stick to the lick mat a little bit more. And just look at all the real whole food pieces you can see and the moisture. That's why I love gently cooked foods like this, or fresh whole foods. And then the other part of her meal is gonna go into her West Paw Topple, which is a treat dispensing toy. And I like to freeze this one for about an hour. And sometimes I'll put some fun supplements on top. Comment below if you'd like to see what those are. And for the last bit here, I'll actually be hand feeding her and working with her on basic training cues like sits and downs. And I'll talk about my daily pup training drills in just a moment on the video. But again, huge fan of this food. It will be linked down below for you. It ships directly to your house, so you don't ever have to go anywhere to get it. They have multiple flavors. Now let's talk more about moisture and kibble. One thing I love to do, if it was my dogs and I was feeding them a full kibble diet, what I would do is take that bowl and I would remove about 5 to 15% of the kibble from that bowl from their meal and replace it with pet safe, real, fresh foods. A few examples that are naturally rich in moisture and nutrients and antioxidants and healthy vitamins and minerals is going to be broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots. Now, when it comes to like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, maybe even a little bit of cabbage, which is antioxidant rich, I like to steam those or lightly saute them in a little bit of coconut oil just to help break it down so my dogs can actually digest and absorb the nutrients from it a little bit better than just feeding raw. Or you could throw in a little bit of wild or organic blueberries, a little bit of watermelon, which is like what, 80-90% water with no seeds, of course, apple, peaches, a little bit of pineapple. These are things that you may have in your fridge that as you're making some for you, you can add to the bowl for your dog. And to me, I'm a big advocate of this, not just for the moisture, but one for enrichment. My dogs love food and they love trying different foods that are pet safe. And I love making sure that they're getting the vitamins and minerals and micro and macronutrients they need by feeding them a variety of different pet safe foods. And I have even more kibble and dog food toppers linked in my description below, as well as my complete list of all my favorite dog food brands. Now I want to talk more about how much to feed, or even when to feed, which is actually more important than many of us realize. Click the video right here and we'll jump over there together. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, or if you want to see some of my favorite pet products, click the video right here. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Goodbye.